G'day, I'm Happy Dave, and today I want to share a process that I'm going through. I've just gone to a networking event in the middle of last week in which I listened to about 40 different people pitch their business from the point of view of a referral system. It's a type of networking group where people become members, and I was invited as a guest. And one of the interesting things about it is I ended up getting this list of people. I'll just share it there. I'm not going to share the details, but essentially they're all individual business owners. And from my point of view, they're the sorts of people that may or may not want to utilize the services I have. So I have this dilemma in front of me, is that I want to connect with a bunch of business owners that I have very minimal information about, and I want to do it as a phone call. I want to introduce myself and maybe do an elevator pitch, maybe just find out a little bit about who they are, and I want to make sure that I maintain respect because I was invited as a guest. I'm not an actual member of this group. So what we're doing today is we're loading all the information in an anonymized fashion. So if we have a look at what it could look like, the actual paperwork I have here was a bunch of almost like business cards, in that they had the person's name and phone number and the type of business they did. Each business was quite unique. So what we're going to do is just jump over to ChatGPT, and firstly, let's just talk through what we're going to do. So this is a networking follow-up to build trust and potentially attract a client, or at least build a relationship. I want to make sure, well, this is for you if you are in business or early in business. I'm early in business, okay? So I'm just trying to get my first few clients. At the moment, I have one, and I'm just working on them individually, trying to build trust, rapport, and deliver a good service. So when I came to this networking event, which I was invited to, and there's another version of it this Wednesday and the following Wednesday, and I can come back and talk to these people some more. And I don't know yet whether the reach out that we're about to develop today will happen before or after those events, but this is what we're going to work out. So I want to make sure that any outreach I do is respectful. I want to do a reintroduction elevator pitch. So they would have seen me stand as a guest and do a pitch. It wasn't very effective at the time. I've been working on that this morning. I want to be able to SMS them some extra information if they don't get back to me that day or maybe the next day. So this is a script I want to work through. I want to be able to come up with some basic ideas of how I could do a Loom, which is a video recording that's personalized to each individual person. I want to deal with the fact of, if someone says, why are you calling me? How do I have that at least planned? I don't think in this situation I need to worry about it too much, but it's something to consider. And I want to investigate, how do we do the timing and control? Because all of this is about building trust and rapport between these target business owners and myself. So this is what we're working through today. What I've done ahead of time is I've set up a little research conversation that we'll work in. So initially I took all the actual images from the originals and I loaded them into a conversation. We can see what it came up with. We've got a logo, we've got the name of the person, we've got the role that they have in the company, we have the name of the company, and we have the email address and phone number. Now, what I've done is taken all of that information, and for this conversation, I've anonymized it so we can see the anonymous information sitting here. What we'll do is we'll just pop in over to this view for a second and expand it. And it looks real. So I've taken, there's about 37 contacts, but I've taken 10 of them here, and we can see that they have concepts like a mobile number, which I've anonymized, a phone number, and here I've just kept the person's name, their first name, but then just done a email address related to the profession. So the profession was on each of these cards. The company and the name has been anonymized, but I've kept it kind of what it needs to be so that when we're getting realistic, personalized conversations, they'll at least make sense. So this is the information we're going to start off with. I'm just going to bring up this view for a second so that we can see what we want to talk about. And it's a respectful and cold outreach. So this is, I'm just doing this off the cuff. Not sure how it's going to go, but let's play ahead. So let's minimize this and go into conversational mode. And I might also take a copy of that and say, here is the scenario. I have met 40 different people. I've supplied you with 10 people for now, and we have the mobile phone number, actual phone number if it's available, an email address, the name of the person, and the profession and company name. Please keep in mind that the information I've given to you is anonymized, so we don't have to be too specific just yet. But what I really need to do is call them, introduce them to myself, and then let them know that they might have heard me speak at this networking event. Here's a tiny little bit of extra information. I just want 3 lines of guidance on what you think I should do next. Now, I kind of know what I want to do next, but I let the AI come up with stuff. It might just trigger me thinking in a different direction. So start with recognition and context. Open your call by briefly introducing yourself. Hey, this is David. We were both at... okay, so that's a statement that I'm going to have to play with. Because not everyone was actually there. Sometimes they had a representative. So this statement is not quite right. Bridge the gap naturally, mentioning something. Yep, okay, interest, not close, okay. So these lines all make sense if I'd actually heard the person speak. The problem is at least a dozen people were not the original person, but instead they were a representative from that company. And there's at least one person that wasn't even there at all. So it might need to be useful to have that ambiguity in whatever statement we say. Okay. Hey, this is David. I was a guest at a recent event where a bunch of us shared intro. Okay, that's kind of okay. I'm not sure if you were personally or if, no, I don't like that. I just want to say hi and see if you're, okay. So I'm not happy with any of these. I'm kind of more happy with some of the ones that were up above. And so I think I'm going to go with something like that. So the way I'm going to say it is, here's an opening that I think might be good for us to develop from. So what I'm trying to do right now is ensure that it doesn't go off the rails and come up with its own ideas. So I said, here's an opening that it can help me develop from, meaning it can clear up the tone. And I'm going to go, hey, my name's David. I was at a recent XYZ event on Wednesday, and I was there as a guest. And I was listening to all the people in the room going around introducing themselves, their business, and what sort of referral systems they were looking for. I just wanted to reach out and introduce myself, and so I don't know what I want to say after and, so I'm going to let ChatGPT figure this out for me. Okay. Hi, my name is David. I was at the recent XYZ event on Wednesday as a guest, and I had the chance to listen in as everyone introduced themselves, their business, and the kinds of referrals they were looking for. I just wanted to reach out and introduce myself. I'm not sure if you were the one there personally, or if someone represented your business, but I really appreciated the range of services in the room. No pressure at all. I'm just reaching out to connect and see if there's a natural way we might. This last statement is not what I want. I love the first two paragraphs. I'm not really happy about going straight in for the let's see how we can help each other. This is a touch base sort of thing where I'm letting people know that I'm around, and I do want to lead into an elevator pitch, but I want to seek permission before I do so. How would you rephrase that last sentence? Give me two variations. So on getting a little bit of connection and we've joined everything up, I don't want to launch into a pitch because this is, I haven't got any trust or credibility. This is a cold call. Now, I'm not a salesperson. So anyone out there who's a salesperson might look at this a little bit differently, but I'm trying to do something that's natural for me, the way I sit with things. And this is the thing that you can learn from this sort of conversation with ChatGPT, is that you can change it to suit your personality and the way you want to come across. So I figured I'd touch base and say hello. If it's okay with you, I'd share a bit about what I do, just so that you know who's reaching out. I like that statement. And what else? That's open and permission based, or we got casual and low pressure. No rush or expectations, but if you're open to it, I'm happy to give you a quick intro so you've got a sense of where I'm coming from. That's not bad. I don't like it as much, but it's certainly not as bad. And I could spend a whole lot of time trying to perfect these two, but that's not what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do is, we're working on this area, and let's just bring it up so we've got it in front of us, of the first talking point. Tone for respectful outreach call, reintroduction, elevator pitch. I'm going to take that information because it might be useful to add in. Can you give me the elevator pitch now, complete using variation 1? So I just want to see it first. You were not meant to give that second section because I figured I'd touch base and say hello is a question that requires an answer before I can move forward. Okay, so we got, my name is David. I just wanted to reach out and introduce myself. I'm not sure. I figured I'd touch base and say hello. Yeah, cool. Now, when I rehearse this, because there's 40 people, I might as well rehearse it. It'll come across differently when I'm saying it in my head, but this is kind of a good place to start. I just want to say, I like this script that you've given to me. I just want to point out that the label that I've called it is the following, and I just want to check, does everything in the wording above actually match this concept? Didn't really need to do that twice, but contextually it would have fit after the word following. So great question. Where it aligns, you're acknowledging while leaving space for them to not remember or not be there. This is great. This is cool. Elevator pitch, we're offering, great. In short, yes. So we're good with this. And what that means is I can go and copy it, I think. And I might go back to my reference card over here. Now, these reference cards that you're seeing at the moment have been developed using an agent workflow, right? So I have a workflow where I've gone through, and everything you're seeing would have come through in the, I'm not sure where it came through here somewhere. It would have come in the planning reference, so this area. So whenever I'm doing a live stream, I go ahead and do a little bit of a plan before we get started. So I just thought I'd share that. Now let's come back to here. We've got our information, and I'm going to come over here and make a statement that number 1 and 2 as talking points are now encapsulated in this script. Now, I've used the read command, means it'll just say absorbed, how can I help? All I'm trying to do is anchor that this script that we just built is actually part of this. I'm not sure where I'm going to do it. I might query this conversation later, so I've got a nice little document of all the different scripts. I might convert it into a blog post, so I'll be able to link these 2 points to this actual script. So there's a few different ways I could use this, but for now it's just an anchoring. Okay, so let's deal with this situation. The next area I want to deal with is if they don't answer in the next day, and I'm considering dealing with it from this point of view. So we've just taken the information from point number 3, SMS when calls get no reply, and let's see what the draft is. Hi Monique, it's David. I was a guest at the XYZ event on Wednesday. I gave you a quick call over to figure earlier, but figured I'd follow up here in case it was easier. I'd love to say hello and share what I do if you're open to it. No pressure at all. See, that's cool for me. I don't even need to, we could improve on this certainly, but as far as scripts go, this is probably as good as anything. And so I'm going to come back here and say read again, and we're just going to paste it in, and we're going to type this. We're going to say like that, and we'll put a little colon just to separate them. At the very end of this, I'm just going to be able to go into the canvas mode, which is right here, and I'm going to have a complete set of scripts ready to go for each of the scenarios. So Loom follow-up, we'll come back to that. Negative handling reactions, we'll come back to that. What I want to do now is go to reintroduction elevator pitch, and I'm going to say we're now approaching the second part of from 2 points of view. What happens if I get some form of negativity, or what's probably more likely in this case, just incredibly too busy? How do I let them know? In the negative space, what do I say? And in the too busy space, how do I ask for permission appropriately to send them a elevator pitch or information or whatever you want to call it? Okay, so the negative is probably, I'll probably just drop it in my case. So I'm not a salesperson. I don't want to deal, if someone's kind of like that, I don't even want them as a client, to be honest. But a normal salesperson would actually overcome objections, but I'm not that person, so that's okay. So if you sense negativity, guarded, dismissive, or cold, let's see. Totally understand. Sounds like now's not the right time. If anything ever shifts or curious down the track, I'm always happy to reconnect. See, this doesn't quite make sense because this is the first time I've contacted them, so I think it needs to shift a little bit. Let's look at this second one. If they're just, let's bring it up here for a sec. If they're just clearly busy but not uninterested, totally agree with that. It sounds like you've got a lot of things on right now. If it helps, I'm happy to send over a quick summary or a video intro you can check out in your own time. Would that be okay? So this is perfect, right? So let's come over to here. And we'll just bring up this window for a second, and we'll say read, and we'll put in this, and we'll make a statement that says, if the person, let's not even do that, let's just copy this and put this in as a response example. And we'll just, I don't think I need this extra information. We'll just press save on this, and now I've got a dealing. Let's deal with the negativity. I'm not really sure that I like the way the negativity or cold response has been dealt with. I'm either going to end the call and not move forward with them. And I'll say, what might be easier than if it sounds like you're not ready or busy or you're not interested, something along these lines. Would it be okay if I just give you a quick synopsis in an SMS or an email of who I am and what I do? So again, we're just asking for a little bit of permission here, and Talia, would it be okay if I sent, you've got it on hand and there's no, unless it feels relevant later on. See, this is great. Okay, so let's come over to here and say, let's take the information we've got here, read that again. We'll paste that in, and we'll say if they're negative, response example, and we'll just copy all this information and we'll paste it in, and Bob's your uncle. Okay, what else do we want to do? Let's come back up to this document and move on to the next thing, Loom video follow-ups. Okay, so I think what I want to do now is come up with a pitch. So, okay. If we're on a positive run, either in the phone call conversation, or if I'm just going to send information through as a SMS, then I'm going to want an elevator pitch. So what I might do is just give you one so that you can store it for me. And then what I want you to consider is the transitional phase from where the conversation is at into this elevator pitch. I'm just going to put that in, and I'm wondering if I've got it somewhere. So yeah, I've got an elevator pitch here. So and this is what I plan to say to people. It's along the lines of, hey, my name's David Crewis. I'm an AI strategist. I have a YouTube channel called Appy Dave, where I'm educating people on AI workflows and agents, sort of people I like to work with are lawyers who may want to have improvement with onboarding a customer using AI, or it might be a tradie who wants to, or a tradie in Australia who would like to improve their marketing with a bespoke campaign using something like Canva. I specialize in automating workflows for business owners, for business intelligence, for content marketing, or people that want to deal with customer engagement, whether that be support, sales, or communication. If this is something that's of interest to you, actually, that's not what I want to say. And then I got more. We'll go with that. This is an progress pitch that I'm doing in front of the camera right now. But what I can do is just take one that I've written down, and I didn't do a video on this, but essentially all morning I've just been sitting on ChatGPT having a conversation backwards and forwards in this particular window to come up with this, because I'm trying to get myself prepared for when this networking event is on again, because I felt that when the guests had a chance to pitch, mine was it was average. It wasn't like what I was hearing in the room, and I want to be really clear and structured when I hit there. So perfect, put it in. I'm just going to drop it. We'll hit go, and we'll jump over to the web view for 1 second and see what we got. Okay, if I'm sure, they say, sure, tell me what they do. Great. If standing by, appreciate that. Here's a quick snap of what I do, just so you've got it in the back of your pocket. If sending by email, as promised, here's a short overview of who I am and what I do. No pressure. Okay, this is great. Let's just jump back over to one of these views for a second and see how much further in this live stream I really want to go. And I say that because I've got a meeting in 5 minutes and I need to deal with it. So what do we got? We got handling negative reactions. We got timing and tone of contact, and we got building trust. So I reckon for those talking points, I'm just going to grab them. I'm going to pop in over to this conversation and say, I think so far we've got most of what I needed solved for my communication process, but can you give me a little bit of information around these 3 items? So I think the handling negative reactions has been dealt with above, or I'm just going to have to deal with it on the fly. Stay neutral, not apologetic. Don't overcorrect, calm, professional. No worries at all. Appreciate you letting me know. Keeps the, okay. Exit. Offer a non-intrusive next step. Would it help if I sent you a quick summary in an email in case it's of use later? Great. This is in keeping with what we talked about anyway. Don't chase. Honor it. Builds long-term credibility. Do not push. That's cool too. It's not even a case of I don't want to chase from that point of view. I don't want to chase because I want a certain sort of client. I want someone that wants what I do. And if they don't want what I do, I'm not trying to sell it. I'm after some small, high-value clients. Time and tone of contact. Timing. Reach out within of the event, but not the same day. That's nice. Great. I'm a little late, but that's okay. Be light, human, unassuming, friendly. Lead with context. Yeah, great. Building trust as a guest. Acknowledge your guest status. And lowest defenses. Offer value, not requests. Okay, cool. What we're going to do is we're going to come back to this conversation, and I think I'm going to go into canvas mode actually. So let's jump into canvas mode. We'll click on this little button and we'll say, so I've given you a bunch of scripts and that deal with different parts of this flow, whether they be in the positive, negative, or no contact direction. And I just need everything put into a little document for now. Let me just give you the high level context and you can look at all the information I've asked you to absorb. So hopefully when it says the absorptions, that's all of these, but from a high level context, we'll just take the information that's here. Now we haven't done the loom because the loom, it's kind of visual and I've got to pre-set it up with stuff, so I'm not so concerned about that yet. Flow. So now we should just go straight into document flow. And because I've got around about 2 meetings to the next meeting on my agenda, I may end up being late to that meeting so I can stick to the live stream. But what I'll do is we'll just jump into GPT and WebView for a second, and I'm going to take this and say, I don't know whether I want you to update the document, comma, add extra information in the form of addendums or examples to the document, or just come back to me with a question before moving forward. But I'm going to give you 3 things to look at. Here is the first. Are you ready? Now, the thing I want to do here is maybe drop this over onto this screen so that we can see it more clearly over here on the left. Ready when you are. Okay, cool. Let's and take this information and drop it in on the right. And I'm not sure what I was showing just there. Oh, that looks weird, doesn't it? Okay, let's come back here. We've got it, and we will copy it and we will paste it. And so we've got 3 different things that we can alter this document with. I don't particularly want it to change this information. That's why I've given it some alternate ways of dealing with the information I'm about to give it. So adds nuance and depth and complements what's already in section 2. Okay. Add an addendum, handling guidance. Okay. Or pause and wait for you. Okay. Would you like me to update? I want it to do this one. So we should get something either under this or down the bottom. Looks like it's going to be down the bottom. Cool. Great. This is good. Perfect. Now, what about this? And what we'll do is we'll come over here and take this information and see what it decides to do for me. And I'm just going to highlight that for now. So it's answering in the chat. Good. Or is it? It looks like it's answering over here. Oh, look at that. You can actually click on this if you want it to be here. So what has it done? We got timing and tone has just been added. It's pretty much just added what we've got. It's just given me notes, which I could have just added them myself, but we'll go with that. I was happy with you adding it to the end of the document, but I'm curious, could you have looked at this from a different perspective when I gave you the information? Yeah, okay. It's a reference system. I think it is a reference system. Integrate it better if you're building a training script, which I'm not. This is a reference for me. So let's go next. And we'll paste in the building trust. And by the looks of things, nothing else is changing. We're just going to get a new area at the bottom, and it could be the same thing again. And it certainly is. Okay, so with that said, let's just go and let's go back to here. Networking follow-up minus the cringe. And let's also come back to here and take this information and drop it in over here. Okay, cool. So networking follow-up minus cringe. I think the scripts that I've got there, I should be able to call the 30 or 40 people directly on my phone. I've got their phone numbers. I've got a little bit of a pitch here that I can just share. And I've got information around how to deal with negativity and where to move on to next. So this will be good. And this last one, it should all sound professional. So if you're more advanced in the business process than me, you'll look at this and go, whatever, I know how to do this quite easily. But if you're relatively new to the business process, because I come from a technical background, not necessarily a client-facing background. These are the little workflows that I'm trying to develop for myself. And part of the reason I do it the way I do it is, like, I like to turn this sort of information into AI agents so I can just have my own workflows. And that might be another angle that you're coming from. You might have your own business where this is happening all the time with your team, and you're going, oh geez, I wish I could just automate and systematize this sort of stuff. This is actually how I go about that sort of stuff. So that said, my name is Appy Dave. I do help people automate their AI workflows and their agents. So if this is the sort of stuff you're interested in, either like and subscribe, or down below there'll be a contact form so you can get in contact with me directly. That said, have a wonderful day. Let's end the broadcast.